President.
Yes.
They had opportunities to participate in our procurement process. We have records of them coming to our meetings and being a bid holder, but we never received a response, a qualified response that we selected. Just quickly, Indian River County has not applied for or received any federal or state grants that were just mentioned. So just for the record, we do not have any such grants.
All the counts were addressed. That was the next question. Thank you. I just wanted the public to hear that after they heard what they heard as we gave Mr. Rigby the opportunity to speak. An opportunity to speak is one that is open to every member of the public. However, as Mr. Wall pointed out, we were not going to engage in something more specifically if it's inaccurate information. I just wanted to clarify it because people are watching.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Commissioners, with that, we'll move on to County Administrator's matters. 11A, hurricane update.
So, Madam Chair, members of the board, I want to thank you for the opportunity to provide this update. First and foremost, I want to extend our continued prayers and thoughts to the community, especially those impacted by Hurricane Milton. The county and our partners will continue to work tirelessly to recover. I certainly want to acknowledge all of our staff, and I do mean all because they all played a role, and to include, I appreciate the County Attorney's Office for their assistance as we've kind of navigating through the early stages of recovery, and we've been preceding that with the state of emergency declaration. And then I want to be remiss not to thank each of you for your time and attention in terms of our update calls, as well as filling me in if there's any issues that are present that maybe your staff's not aware, somebody calls you. We appreciate that because it certainly is a team effort to respond to a community disaster like this. And so with that, I just want to recap a little bit of what happened and where we are. And I'll share some information. I know it's probably important to some people that want to know. As we know, Monday morning, actually the weekend before, Ryan, Mike Zito, Dave Johnson, myself, and the storm, what was going to come out. But on Monday morning at 8 a.m. on October 7th, the EOC did activate to level 2. And then we upgraded to level 1 the next day at 2 p.m. largely so we could implement sheltering plans because of the potential path for the hurricane. The level 1 activation continued until the post-storm, which was Friday the 11th at 3 p.m. when the sheltering operation ceased. Our EOC was staffed with emergency information line, which was staffed by employees that did not work for emergency management. They worked from other departments, so we appreciate that collaboration and everybody coming together. They handled 1,210 calls during the time that they were there. That line is still open for those members of the public that may have something they want to ask or something they want to report at 772-226-4000. 772-226-4000. We opened shelters. We sheltered a total of about 420 families, 20 number of animals, and then we also have 45 in our special needs shelter. Our fire rescue, they continued to respond to calls, already 111, of which about 176 were related to the storm in terms of wires, water, and damage. They obviously, as soon as they had the first opportunity, they, along with many other agencies, the Sheriff's Office, the City of Vero Beach, responded to the beach side to help where the tornado, the EF3 had done a lot of the damage. In terms of damages, as of the most recent update, we're still about just over $59 million, 43.6, which is residential. We did have 51 homes destroyed, and we have 91 that were damaged, that we categorized as major. There was a total of 794 residential structures that incurred some form of damage. Commercially, we got $15.3 billion. We had 3 businesses completely destroyed, and 26 was the major damage. Public cumulative damages in terms of roads and bridges, water control facilities, public buildings, equipment. We fared well for our county facilities generally, but we still did experience and incur at this moment about $7.3 million of damage. so that's just a kind of brief overview there. I just want to kind of touch on FEMA has opened, as you know, and so the public is aware, the Disaster Recovery Center. They opened it, soft opening at 1 o'clock on Saturday. I want to thank Parks and Rec and others who participated and made that happen. And they rolled in really quick. Once they got there, they rolled in real quick. The logistics, set up the team, Small Business Administration, other agencies there, the FDEM, Florida Department of Emergency Management was there. So we have other state and federal agencies at the IG, and they are open every day, 8 a.m. until 7 p.m. until further notice. And that's again at the 1590 9th Street Southwest. I would be remiss not to, the other thing is to acknowledge United Way, excuse me, the United Against Poverty Center came together with other agencies and stood up a MARC, or a multi-agency resource center. And 1 week that they did that, they served over 1,750 households in providing assistance. And we had 8 representatives, if I recall correctly, from FEMA that were there to help with disaster assistance as well. And our staff also augmented and helped make that center a reality, because besides the agencies manning their tables and their booths, there was a need for some operational assistance, and we certainly appreciate all the staff members from departments, from planning and development, utilities. We had commissioner assistants that helped out. It was just community services. It was widespread, and we appreciate that, because it really was a big community effort. And so we want to thank, the United Way and the United Against Poverty. And would like to announce the FEMA Disaster Survivor Assistance Team that was at Gifford Youth Achievement Center. That location closed last night. But thank you to the Senior Resource Association, because they're going to be providing free transportation from the Gifford Youth Achievement Center to the IG Center for disaster assistance. And FEMA is going to be deploying canvassing in the neighborhoods, up into the various areas to make sure that we cover everybody. And if somebody, I would like to say, if somebody believes or that they are aware they have damage and they're not certain it was assessed, or that we're not aware of it, they should give us a call again at 772-426-4000. We will dispatch our building official or our building staff to do the assessment of that, to make sure we can mark it down. I want to encourage everybody, if you have incurred damage, to file an insurance claim with your carrier. Start that process. Get your documents and start that process. And then also, we want you to apply for FEMA assistance. You can get assistance directly at the Disaster Recovery Center, the IG Center, or you can go online at disasterassistance.gov. You could use FEMA's app, they have one, or you can call FEMA at 800-621-3362. If you have issues with your roof and there's tarps, please don't pay for anything. I would call the Operation Blue Roof, which is being put on by the United States Army Corps of Engineers, and it's 21 days and it ends on November 5th. So if you need tarps for your roof, please contact www.blueroof.gov or call 888-ROOF-BLUE or 888-766-3258, and you can get your roof covered. And we've had several people that have taken advantage of that rather than relying on somebody show up. I know a big issue out there right now, and then I'll go into some updates briefly, is what are we doing with the debris? Our debris contractor started yesterday. The management company came in, they did an assessment, prior to them starting yesterday, the pickup contractor establishing zones, as well as kind of get an estimation of where we are in debris. So what we want to make sure they realize is that Cirrus Environmental Services, they started yesterday, they started in the South County and the Highlands area. And if you are a waste management subscriber or customer, you may continue to follow normal protocols for your trash pickup. Disaster debris is handled on that special agreement group that we have in advance with Cirrus Environmental for the purpose of clearing debris. So what do we need to know? What we really need to know is that we need everybody to separate their debris in categories and place them, right outside the right-of-way. Don't place them in the right-of-way, meaning like in the right-of-way to block it. But you should have one pile that's vegetative, that's leaves, mulch, plants, logs, etc. Building materials, metals, bricks, shingles, kind of like construction debris. And then other types of like, furniture, other materials like mattresses, drywall, pressure treated wood, anything like that. You have those 3 piles that will facilitate the collection of the debris in a more orderly manner. One of the things that we are, for everybody, follow your normal collection schedule for household trash. But we are asking for people that are doing debris, do not place it in a bag. And I'm gonna go back home later today and take mine out of the bag. Or in a can. You need to just set it out on the side of your property line and let that get picked up. A claw truck is being used, that's why they're not gonna be, it'll slow the process down. I know everybody wants to get rid of debris, but it'll slow the process down so they are not stopping to empty cans or bags as it relates to debris. So just place it in a pile, it's one of those 3 piles, right outside on your property line, not in the right way though, in the roadway. So no bags, no cans. I will add, the county did waive the fees at the landfill the first 10 days for everybody, to try to get 2 weekends to get stuff in. We know that there's long lines there. We're hoping that over time that they will kind of become more expeditious. But right now the commercial tipping fee at landfill is $10.30, and then for residential it's free. We do estimate that it's going to be 4 to 6 weeks is the early time. That's when we believe that we're going to be able to get this done. And I know if you've got debris out there, like many of us, you're probably retired looking at it. They started yesterday. We had a follow-up process because this is something that's subject to FEMA reimbursement. But please be patient. We understand it's challenging, it's difficult, but we are doing everything we can to get out there and pick up and collect debris. I saw people working in waste management working on Saturday, collecting debris in this, on 27th and then also on 20th Avenue. I've heard they're collecting it in Sebastian. The city's working on it and the county's working on it. We're doing our level best to try to get this debris collected in the most expeditious and efficient manner as possible, but at the same time, it is going to take time. And so we have 540 square miles, and there's a lot of debris. We had a total of 8 tornadoes that preceded the actual arrival of Hurricane Milton, an EF3, which was, in my lifetime, I don't know about anybody else, but I've never seen that type of tornadic activity. And when they say it's unprecedented, my first hurricane was 1979, Hurricane David, that I can remember as a child, and I've never seen that type of tornadic activity. So we appreciate everybody, and we understand everybody's still dealing with the impacts, but we are working hard. Our solid waste division, our debris contractor, our public works folks are working hard to respond and get rid of this debris as well as other issues. I would like to share with the board and members of the public, we had over 40 staff members after that storm hit come out within hours and start damage assessment activities on zones throughout the entire county. We also had representatives, Paige from the GIS helping to lead that way in terms of the leadership of Scott McAdam and Erica and Candace. But so the point is, there was a team effort, people from building, people from unlicensed contractors, though they weren't out there trying to ticket people like I saw that on Facebook or on maybe next door app that, wow, they're out there trying to ticket or give people a violation. No, they were out there trying to help us get further along that recovery process by understanding damage assessment. Again, I want to note if you have damage you're not certain it's been assessed, because maybe it was in the back of the yard or maybe it was in the side that maybe we couldn't see, call us at 772-426-4000 and we'll make sure that we get somebody out there. And it's important to get that documented. And I would also like to add that we are waiving permit fees related to damage related, to repair damages caused by the tornadoes or the hurricane. And we also will work to expedite that permitting on your end as well. And those efforts also involve planning and development services. So from a utility standpoint, we have about approximately 348 lift stations, and only about 22%, I mean, still a lot, about 78, at one point didn't have power. We were rotating our staff, so our crews did a phenomenal job. We didn't really have any major issues. with our wastewater and water treatment plant. Unfortunately, we did have a spill at one of our repump stations at the North Wastewater Treatment Facility. We do estimate a spill of about 32,500 gallons, but it was all contained in one of our rapid infiltration bases that adjoin the site. So we're very fortunate in that sense. Obviously, from the power standpoint, that affected everybody. It affected us as well, specifically our traffic operations. We have like about 167 signals that we manage. We did have to coordinate with FDOT to work with them to get the traffic signals up so we could safely, so residents could safely traverse our roads. We had 141 that didn't have any damage, so we're really down to like that 26 that did. And then they had to deploy stop signs to get them out there. We had to work with FDOT as well, and we know there was damage related to some of the Clark Railroad crossings. So we appreciate everybody, taking heed to the warnings and the encouragement by the sheriff and our other EM staff during our press briefings to be careful and to be neighborly. We thank Road and Bridge. Obviously, we still have a significant issue with County Road 512. If you recall, going back to Hurricane, I think it was Ian, the state was able to repair a temporary fix from the mainland to Sanibel Island in 1 week. So we're kind of calling it Project Sanibel for what we call for the County Road 512. St. John's River Water Management District are working with us. They're, Audie and the team, they're working to get conceptual plans. St. John's is going to provide us the emergency authorization or exemption. We're going to get that repaired in a very short time frame. We're estimating 2 to 3 weeks still. Just 2 to 3 weeks. So we're working to get that done. Just ongoing repairs. We did have some graders that went down. I think everybody's aware of that. And we still have some work orders still out there. Basically, we're prioritizing them on the Public Works Department. There was 183 requests, and we still have just under over 130 or so that are still open that they are working on. I already mentioned our facilities. Our county facilities generally fared pretty well, other than having to do debris pickup in our park, our parking lots. We did the EOC, the Sheriff's Office, we did respond to air conditioning issues. And then, obviously, we all know that there's localized flooding issues. 6 to 10 inches of rain during a 2-hour period during the tornadoes really impacted. I heard the other day that the canal system is designed, I think it was 2.3 inches per hour. And so when you get 6 to 10 inches of rain, that really impacts the ability. And it's my understanding that they did have questions. Why didn't they open the gates? The gates were open. The locks were open. So I just want to point that out. But our public works staff has done a good job out there trying to continue. I just want to note on the Parks and Recreation side, all our facilities, parks and conservation areas are open, with the exception. We have Tracking Station Beach Park, the Sebastian Canoe Launch, Cozy Schumann Park, Bureau Highlands Green Space, the Hallstrom Farmstead Conservation Area, the Oslo Riverfront Conservation Area, and the Pelican Island National Wildlife Refuge is closed until the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service can get out there and open it themselves. So, and then just know at the IG Center, if you're going to go there, we still are doing multi-folk. The West Wing is the FEMA Disaster Center, but we still are doing our intergenerational programming on the other meeting rooms and also on the gym court and stuff like that. So that still exists. So just know it's going to be pretty packed there. We have comfort stations out, and that's one of them. In terms of, and 2 more things here after this, our beaches. We had significant dune retreat and lower our beach profiles, mainly in Sector 3. Our dunes remain intact, but we have experienced and still are experiencing beach erosion, and our natural resources, they're monitoring it so we can document it and do what we have to do in the aftermath. Lastly, I really want to thank and highlight, and I know there's always opportunities or room for improvement, but we operate in a digital age, and I just want to share some of the outreach that was done in addition to the daily calls, that Ryan, our emergency management chief, held with Bob Seuss that were heard during the morning, and 8 something in the morning, and then 6 o'clock at night. We also held daily 1:30 p.m. press conferences to kind of update and keep the public informed. But one of the main vehicles that we used through the sheriff's office, through just even our partners, they would disseminate whatever we put out there. But just on looking at our own site, I asked, and our IT folks were able to get us some information as it relates to what happened, you know, in terms of our communications and our stuff. We saw 151,000 views between October 6th and 9th on our website. In our Facebook, we had an increase of over 700%, like 123.1 thousand engagements on our website, another 35,000 engagements, or a 215% increase on the emergency services Facebook page. We also used Instagram. We saw pretty significant increases again in the 100 percentiles. In Newberry County's Instagram, in addition, we reached 6.1 thousand people, and the emergency services were just under 1,000. Next to our app, we had 61,000 post views. So every time we posted next to our app, it was out there. And then we also, if you recall, we have the Everbridge and Aware and Prepare. They were posting items there, and people saw it. And then the one thing I'll also mention is I saw constantly the same things that were being posted on Nextdoor, were being posted on those that have the Ring cameras. They have a water network as well, and they were posting that. That's just kind of a brief, or maybe it's not brief for someone, I apologize for too long. But I think what it talks about is, you know, when we talk about one of our core values being united in our purpose to serve the community, well, that happened during the storm. I think the leadership of the emergency management team and all of our partners at the EOC is greatly appreciated, and they provided what we needed, and we will continue to work to help our community recover. And if you, again, if you have any questions, you can go down to the IG Disaster Recovery Center, or you can call us at 727-426-4000, or 727-226-4000, sorry about that. And we will certainly assist you. And again, I want to thank the board for the opportunity to present this today. But it's really on behalf of all the people, the staff, and our partners that did all that work out there. And we do appreciate that.
Wonderful. Commissioners, any questions?
Chair. John, you mentioned the 7.3 million of damage to county properties. Can you be a little more specific on which properties?
Yeah, can I just provide a list to each of you later today? Because there's some, like, I know the road at County Road 512, that's about $550,000. The water treatment control facilities was about $785,000. But the ones that I probably need to get some breakdown on are the public buildings and equipment, about $2.4 million. And then as it relates to parks and recreation facilities, and I believe this includes the beaches, but it's at $3.5 million. I'll get you a further breakdown of that.
And I'm sure you're constantly working on the after action report, which we could probably expect in maybe December.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to circle back with Ryan and Chief Johnson to do that. We've been asking all the department heads, to make sure they got, TelePad specifically, for the purposes of doing that. Yes, that's a great opportunity to not just to evaluate. It's a better opportunity to evaluate what we can do better the next time. Not so much what we did wrong, but what we can do better to improve our response and our recovery operations.
And just for the public, know that the county is not in charge of Xfinity, because we don't.
That's a good one. Yes, sir.
One thing that we're not in control of Xfinity, so I appreciate all the social media, but sometimes when they don't have, they can't receive, so thank you.
I agree with you on the social media thing for sure. It gets out of control with some misinformation and stuff like that. I'll touch on that for just a second. But one thing I do want to add is that I spoke with David Gunn Thursday at the Newberry Farms Water Control District, and of course on social media, you heard, the locks were never open and all that sort of stuff. I got phone calls that my yard hasn't been flooded in 40 years, and now it's all of a sudden deciding to flood. I can tell you that the locks for the Newberry Farms Water Control District, every one of them were open on the Friday morning before the Wednesday storm. They were open, so it's 4 or 5 days before the storm. There had been previous rains, a lot of groundwater, but they were open. He said 5 days, or the Friday before the storm on Wednesday. I said it was 4 days. And his canals, county administrator said, the Inver Farms Drainage District canals are rated at handling 2.3, 2.5 inches of rain per hour pretty comfortably. After that, you know, it becomes an issue, because I got calls again that, you know, neighborhoods out by where I live were flooded, and my road flooded. I live on a lake that ends up dumping into the canal system, and I had, the bass and tilapia bluegill swimming in my yard. So they went down by morning time. But I would tell you that any criticism of any River Farms Water Control District is unjust, because, you know, that guy has done more hurricanes than most of us in his lifetime. He knows exactly what's taking place with that. These canals were flat full. I mean, we received, in my house, I received almost 10 inches of rain in 2 hours. So that's unheard of, very much so. And the canals running out to the 8th Street Canal, which runs to the 50th Avenue Canal to the main canal, they were max capacity. And they did everything possible that they could do. But I just wanted to let everybody know that the locks were open Friday before the Wednesday storm, with regards to that, with regards to any flooding which may have. The other things I've been getting, and maybe asked county administrator, we asked Ubanshi about this, was that, you know, we received calls of people wondering, why isn't the landfill free? And I said, well, for the question that I answered, it's always been free via vegetated debris. And then just recently, we started the $10 and 30-cent charge for commercial landfill. Well, I've had some of them complain about that too. But, you know, we have an operation to run, they're in the business to run. But my only question, maybe if I can ask Ubanshi this, is how are we? I heard there was a long wait at the landfill. Obviously there is. So if you have these landscapers that are paying, they're stopping to pay, is that slowing up the operation with regards to everything that's going on out there in the landfill?
Good morning, Commissioners. Again, the record motion of the Managing Director of Solid Waste Disposal District. So it's just the timing, if you will. We did, as of October 1, as board approved, we did a 3% increase on all our tipping fees. And as of October 1, we did initiate a vehicle waste service charge for commercial landscapers that bring in small yard waste debris. Typically, there is no charge for the material they bring, it's free. But we did start instituting this $10.30 charge, and then the hurricane happened. As the county administrator mentioned, we waived all those fees for about 10 days for yard waste and commercial construction materials. We have, as of Monday, yesterday, we have restarted our fees. There were lines yesterday. Late in the afternoon, basically I was out there with help from Republic Services. We closed down our inbound lane and basically used both lanes to get everybody out as quickly as we could. As of this morning, what I've instituted is we're collecting that $10.30 on the way in. So when a commercial customer identifies that they have small yard debris, we're collecting the $10.30 right there and then. That way, they're not having to wait on the way out to pay that fee. So it's a way, and right before this meeting, I found out that we have about 3 people on the inbound and about 3 people on the outbound. So as of this morning, the lines are under control. I mean, we do have a lot of material that private, landscapers are picking up. They're assisting our community, which is great. And so we do have that increase in traffic. However, I did, this fee is, we're looking for ways to how to speed things up. I think the plan we have now, where we collect the fee on the way in, is going to help kind of reduce the traffic jam at our facility.
Situation with the municipalities and everything from that, and what we are doing for, just somebody wants to bring their own construction debris, they're not a commercial hauler or anything like that, all that.
If I can understand the question, or I'll state it this way, our facility's open 7 days a week, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. It's open to the public. So any private contractor, that wants to bring in construction materials to our most degree, our facilities are. What we have done is we're looking at, the tornadoes and some of the major damage that has occurred throughout the county. We've been in contact with the city of Vero Beach, related to that construction, what we call Class B waste. So it's construction materials, household waste, and they estimate about 5,000 tons of material that they have, that they want to bring to our facility. And so the discussions I've had is encouraging them to look for alternative locations for that material. The reason being is we are at limited capacity at the landfill. 5,000 tons is about a month of material that we get on a typical basis. And so, although we have a new 10-acre cell that's close to being ready, it's not quite ready yet. And this influx, 1 month of capacity that we depleted, is something that I'm trying to reserve for our regular customers, regular, day-to-day trash. So it is some discussions we're having with the city of Vero Beach, and even our contractor cities. If they're picking up a lot of construction materials, we're also encouraging them not to use the landfill, to use, there's a private facility across the street, Okeechobee landfill is also available, to accept the material. So we're just trying to kind of watch our capacity and make sure that, as we continue to kind of, move forward, that we always maintain capacity for our day-to-day garbage.
So it doesn't change a thing. Homeowner brings in their designated debris, no charge. They bring in construction debris or furniture or something like that. There is that construction debris charge. Nothing changes from that.
That's correct. So if it's a chargeable item that they bring in, there's a charge for that, whether it's residential or commercial. If you bring in construction materials, that is a chargeable item. You cannot bring that to the convenience center. It must go to the landfill. And so there's a charge for that, for construction materials. We do have that 1030 as a minimum. So even if you brought in 1 ton, if you brought in 400 or 500 pounds, we still charge that $10.30 for construction materials. But it's typically by weight. So whatever the weight that they leave us is kind of what we assess and charge for based on our capabilities.
I honestly don't know what the problem is, but I guess we need to make sure that we let everybody know via social media what the operation of landfill, that basically nothing's changed, but it's clear as to what we're charging for, what we're not.
Sure.
Thanks for your efforts and what y'all done. I know it's never easy after a hurricane or a disaster like this everybody wants their stuff out of the way as soon as they can.
We usually start advertising in June, beginning of the hurricane season, to have folks start cleaning things up, start trimming their trees and so on and so forth. But yeah, we've been through this before. Usually folks bring in, like 2 days before the storm, and then many days after they continue to bring all their stuff. So, but we're open for business.
Madam Chairman, the other thing, Beach and Shore Day, yesterday we had an update from Natural Resources. They're gonna go back out on Thursday and reassess again. The beaches did take a hit. Wabasso Beach seems to be the one to take a hit, but overall, we did fairly well. The sand on Sector 4 is going to start as scheduled. Sector 4. Overall, there's some repairs that need to be done, some things that need to happen. It's not like, I guess, thank goodness this one would come from the east. That's all.
I just want to thank all of our employees, not only the ones in the AOC, but the ones that were out in the field. I think a lot of times, we see the first responders, and they did a fantastic job, most definitely. But we don't see our public works guys and our utilities guys that are there making sure infrastructure is safe and making sure people can get out and get around and access. And, unlike some of our neighbors, our utility system did a fantastic job. We didn't have really any discharges at all. I can't say the same for some of our neighbors, so kudos to your guys, Sean, and Audie, Road and Bridge, Joseph, those guys, I know they worked like 5, 6, 7 days straight over the weekend, long hours, clearing roads, grading them, getting everybody back in. So I really want to thank the boots on the ground that were out there doing the work to make sure our community was safe. The only thing I would add, and I think, Commissioner Rohr and Commissioner Ehrman both touched on it, but social media is a fantastic thing. It's a great tool, but for the residents that are getting their information from their neighbors on social media versus the official channels on social media, or going to the website where that information is, I would just encourage the community to please make sure you're seeking the information from the source, not perhaps from your neighbor that moved here 3 years ago, who is great, who may have a lot of great information about what's going on in your neighborhood, but perhaps not the exact information about how to get rid of debris or where to find FEMA assistance and that type of thing. So our website has all that information. Our social media pages have that information, the municipality social media pages. So please make sure that you are going there for that information. And for some of the neighborhood pages that are run by people in our community, I really appreciate them helping to share our messages and amplify the proper information, because one of the things that's very difficult to combat in emergency situations or disaster situations is the misinformation. So we do appreciate our community partners helping to share the proper information so people know where to go. But all in all, it could have been much worse. I'm very thankful that it turned out to be what it was and not what it could have been. We're very blessed, and I appreciate everybody that helped us get through it. It's never easy to get through these things, and as much as you prepare and you go through trainings and you go through scenarios, when you're in it, it's just, there's always anomalies that pop up and you kind of have to roll with it. So I appreciate everybody that did that. I know it's stressful, and we'll get to where we need to be, but it'll be a little bit to get all this stuff processed and moving forward. So thank you everybody for your work. John, anything else you want to add to that?
No, ma'am, just want to thank the board, and again, I want to thank all of our employees as well as our partners who came together in response.
Most definitely. All right, with that, we will move on to utility services, 12J1, utility accounts receivable, bad debt write-offs, and foreclosure activity.
Good morning, Commissioners. Sean Weesey, Director of the Department of Utility Services. I first want to start by saying thank you all for what you all do, and John, great summary of everything that transpired during and following the storm. I agree. I think there's a lot of unsung heroes out there that did a lot of work to protect our community. One thing I did want to clarify for debris management collection, our contractor is picking up private HOAs and gated communities, but only if we have an access agreement, signed access agreement. So if you're in an HOA or you're in a private community on a private road, get on our website, please, and fill out that access agreement, or we will not be able to pick up that debris from your area. So that's critical for all those who are on private roads.
And just to follow up on what Sean said, that information is on our website under our Storm Center Resources link. Click on that, and it's right there on that front page.
With that, back to the item at hand, we have a lot of past due accounts that we, are working with to try to get payment, and oftentimes those end up going perhaps to foreclosure. We do have an ordinance that allows us to reach agreement in lieu of foreclosure, and I know Brian's going to talk a little bit about that. I'm just going to take a minute to introduce Brian Beavers, who is our finance director, and he's going to take it from here. We're talking a little bit about kind of bad debts and where we are this year.
Good morning, I'm Brian Beavers, the Utilities Finance Manager, and we're here today to request approval to write off as bad debts some amounts related to some settlement agreements that have been completed on our past due accounts receivables. I don't have slides.
settlements of past
Yes,
due accounts.
perfect, okay. So this morning, we're here to talk about, first of all, 10 settlement agreements that we have signed over the last fiscal year, FY '24, which ended September 30th, 2024. Of those 10 settlement agreements, totaling $618,000, we have completed 7. Completed means that the party has completed all the payments required to finish their settlement agreement. The 7 completed settlement agreements were for a total of $437,000, of which the customer paid $276,000 of payments, and we're here today to request write-off of $160,458.03 related to those 7 completed agreements. We also had 3 additional agreements that were signed in FY '24. They are still underway. The customer is making payments towards those. Those 3 agreements total $181,000. We're expected to receive $47,000 worth of payments from the customer for those 3 agreements, and we're projecting a write-off amount of $134,009. I will note that as we continue down this road of doing settlement agreements, we're seeing a shift of the amount of write-off that we're going to have to do, and it's primarily because, we feel like it's because the difficulty is growing on the circumstances related to the past due amount, and it's just requiring additional monies to be written off to be able to reach an agreement. Please don't skip too many. So we have also, during the year, completed 2 foreclosure sales, which is new for us this year in utilities. The first one was a foreclosure sale that was sold third party, which means that a third party buyer bought the property, and so the county did not end up with that property. We were able to recover all of our bad debt amounts plus attorney fees, etc. So the actual debt that we are able to recover for that particular foreclosure sale was $3,979. There's no write-off related to that. We had a second foreclosure sale that was completed in FY '24. On that one, there was a different department that actually foreclosed upon the property, and utilities had an outstanding balance for it. For that one, we were required to, well, let me back up. There was no bidder for that particular property, so the county acquired the property. And as a result of that, we received no proceeds towards the utility bill. So we had to write off both service charges of $9,324 plus penalties and interest, $28,009. We brought that particular one to your board in August, so that one has been resolved. Then I wanted to just take a minute to highlight kind of the trend of what we're seeing going forward by looking at our accounts receivable balances that are more than 120 days past due. And this is a trend. Right now, we have $1.7 million of 120 plus days past due receivable balances. In 2020, that number was 3.7 million. So we are bringing the number down. It is a slow process. Of the $1.7 million, we have 21 accounts that we have referred to a foreclosure attorney to process foreclosure. And the balance on those is $891,000. So they're large dollar accounts that we have currently foreclosure in process. Then the remainder of that balance, $863,990 is for 213 additional accounts. So they're roughly 10% of the value of the ones that have gone to foreclosure. So in summary, we're here today to ask approval to do the write-off for the bad debt that we have to write off of $160,458.03. And it relates to penalties and interest on some past due accounts receivable balances. Any questions?
Commissioner's question?
Madam Chair, move approval of the write-off. To appreciate his work in analyzing and assessing and taking the county's best interest going forward, even if it is a write-off, it's done so in a very calculated and way, and thank you for the good steward for the taxpayer's dollar and for the properties in which are entrusted. Thank you, Lady Hale.
Fantastic, all right, we have a motion, I'll be happy to second that. Any further discussion? Anybody from the public? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you so much. All right, that brings us to our last item, which is Commissioner Fletcher's item, and we'll turn it over to you, Commissioner.
Close it, Madam Chair.
Yeah, close us out.
Well, speaking of closures, I believe you all got the memo. Mr. Stephen Hayes, who has performed a very beautiful function on the Tourist Development Council. He did begin as an owner-operator, as you recall, he was the operator of the airport operation out in your neck of the woods. And he worked with Joe as well. He was a fine asset. Unfortunately, it has come a time where he is choosing to make another endeavor and spend time with the family. So he sent his resignation. He's not an owner-operator any longer. And we accepted his resignation, and in the process to continue, I did pull all applications. There was one from Nicole Johansson, which, as you know, is very involved with North County operations. She also is the executive director of the Mel Fisher Museum, granddaughter of Mel Fisher as well. So she's been very much involved in tourism. And then the other application is a Diana Rossell, which I have not had the opportunity to meet, but she submitted her application. She just looked at any appointment done in any committee. So at this time, Madam Chair, I'd like to thank Stephen for his services, and all the appropriate documentation is done, and I'd like the opportunity to appoint Nicole Johansson to the Tourist Development Council.
Fantastic, that is a motion by Commissioner Fletcher with a second by Commissioner Ehrman. I think that, I also echo my thanks to Steve, it was always fun to work with him, he's
Great guy.
a great guy, and Nicole has been a great advocate for the North County, and I think she'd make a fantastic addition. Any other comments from Commissioner's question?
I think she's a great choice.
All right, with that, there's a motion and a second. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, that was a great way to end the meeting. All right, if there's nothing else for the good of the order, we stand adjourned.